A stroke can happen to anyone, but it's surprising when it happens to children. Aaron Roitman was just 14 years old, and he had a stroke last year. We talked with him and his family about what happened and his recovery and how the experience has changed their lives.
Aaron!
Down and bring it down.
That's awesome.
Aaron Roitman was 14 when he suffered a stroke. It happened last September when he was at school.
I was in gym class, and I was running the beep test, which is an endurance test, and I finished, and my score was significantly lower than it usually is, and I was feeling a lot more fatigued than I usually do, and I sat down and I put my score in, and I just lost a ton of energy, and I fell backwards, and I was just completely out of it. My entire left side was paralyzed. So my arm and my leg and my face, half my face was paralyzed. So I started drooling a lot, and my arm and my leg just stopped moving. So people were very concerned.
It's a day his parents will never forget.
Well, I was just in a meeting, and I got this call that Aaron had hit his head and he was on his way to Sick Kids, and I had to rush over there to meet him. So it was quite a shock, I guess, when you start hearing doctors and whatever talk about, they think he's had a stroke. Because kids don't have strokes.
There were, I don't know, like 10 doctors. And I'm still thinking he hit his head. And when he saw me, he started to cry because he was worried about me, worrying about him. And half of his face wasn't moving. So I went into the MRI with him, and that's when they spent about 45 minutes or an hour or so checking his brain, and that's when they diagnosed him with a stroke.
They're bombarding you with information, and you can't digest it, right? It's like it's just hitting you, and you just try and do your best.
In the morning, you have an intact, happy, healthy family, and at 1 o'clock, your whole world falls apart.
Aaron is very close to his siblings, and for his older sister, Madeline, it was all just a blur.
What feels like a small event, and it takes 1 second, and it's like your life completely turns upside down, and that had never happened to me before. It's very weird and very scary.
His younger sister, Emily, wasn't able to see her big brother for a few days because she had a cold at the time.
Once I took all the information in, it kind of hit me. I was very stressed when I couldn't see him too, and I was really worried a lot of the time.
Staff at Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital treated Aaron for the first couple of weeks.
Mostly at Sick Kids, it's just stabilizing him, and the big focus was on preventing any further stroke.
They didn't tell us what was going to happen because they didn't know.
Then they got the news. He was being discharged to Toronto's Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital.
We had sort of two sets of worries, Wes and I. One big worry, and the most important worry that we had, was we don't know why this happened. Is it going to happen again? And then the second concern, which is related, but believe it or not, much less scary, is how is he going to recover?
I need you to lift this up.
Aaron made strides at Holland Bloorview.
When I first had my stroke, I was in a wheelchair and stretchers and nothing, and now I'm walking, and my leg came back a lot before my arm, but to this day I still have trouble moving my arm, and it's very tough. When you have a stroke, it's like rebuilding pathways in your brain. They never tell you anything about when you're going to be better.
Aaron is back at school, but his recovery continues.
My family's been great. They've been with me every step of the way. I don't know if I could have done it without them, and they've been absolutely fantastic to me.
And while Aaron is only 15 now, he has a bright future ahead.
He's either going to be an engineer working for Apple or a Blue Jays sports commentator on TSN.
He might build a plane. I think he's going to build a plane of some sort. Or a car. He really likes that.
Oh, he'll probably be some fancy engineer doing sciencey things.
He's going to do big things.
For now, Aaron just wants to take part in the activities he used to enjoy.
Before my stroke, I would go skiing, and we would go and play sports. I would go out with my friends, and I would go do all of these things that I can't do now because of my limitations, but I'm looking forward to getting back to that. I took life for granted before my stroke, and now I realize that It's not something that you should take for granted, and you should enjoy every moment of it.
Interesting statistics too. As many as 10 kids in every 100,000 suffers a stroke in this country. So tomorrow, in part 2 of our series, we'll go inside Holland Bloorview, Canada's largest children's rehabilitation hospital, to take a look at how they help children affected by brain injuries. For more information on pediatric stroke, we'll have links to the Heart and Stroke Foundation as well as Holland Bloorview on our website.